everyone. Today, Shannon and I have our friends Danielle and Shanae. I'm here to talk about today is how everyone is coping with stress during this COVID-19 quarantine. Danielle, do you want to go first?
My name is Danielle Burks, and I am a licensed therapist in Chicago. My specialty is stress, anxiety, working with teenagers, young adults, to really just cope through life challenges. Coping through the pandemic that we are all experiencing right now. I've been in the field 6 years now, and I'm currently at Urban Wellness.
Thank you. And Shanae?
Sure. Hello, everybody. My name is Shanae Bridges Carter. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist. I have been for about 10 years now. I am currently the director of the Counseling Center at Chicago State University, as well as the owner of my own private practice, Bridges to Wellness Therapy Services. And I primarily work with adults on a variety of different issues: depression, trauma, relationship issues, anxiety, stress, and similar to Danielle, really kind of trying to help folks cope with managing this pandemic and all of the different issues that is creating for folks.
Okay. So what kinds of things are you seeing more of now that you weren't seeing before we all got stuck in the house? And I take it you're both doing telehealth now. Is that how you're practicing?
Yes.
I am seeing is clients who have been diagnosed with anxiety or depression, that the symptoms are feeling more intense than they have before. Clients who have been encouraged to seek social support are now in isolation, so that causes other concerns and other challenges with clients, and more when we talk about eating and self-medication, and either clients are trying to be overly productive and they want to learn new skills, they want to cook, they want to take classes, and they're just a lot of pressure and stress on themselves to really use this time to be very productive. Or a lot of clients who are probably on the other side who are struggling with just trying to figure out a routine. Really just seeing a mixture of some of everything.
What about you, Shanae?
Similar to Danielle, but a matter of really trying to help folks understand that this situation that I think initially we felt was temporary has kind of taken on a longer life, right? And so while there was a situation where folks felt like, okay, I can manage this for a couple of weeks, if people find themselves, not only are they stuck indoors, but they might be stuck indoors with people who are really the crux of their issue, right? So they're stuck at home with, maybe a toxic partner, a toxic parent, typically where they were able to get out of the house for work or get out to go to the gym or hang out with friends. They are now kind of stuck with this person in a confined space for ongoing periods of time.
Oh, that sounds awful. I mean,
it really is, and people joke a lot about, like, oh, I'm learning new things about my spouse and I hear their work voice and all of that, and just like minor annoyances, right? But domestic
that's me. That would be me. So, anyway.
We're learning that somebody said my husband is the let's circle back to this issue guy, and they're horrified by that, right? So, I mean, those minor annoyances are one thing, but domestic violence is like seriously on the uprise. People are, they're turning to violence, and domestic doesn't just necessarily mean a romantic partner or a spouse, but it's any person
in the home.
Live. Yes, exactly.
I want to point out that, because I work in a hospital setting, so, I would say maybe 50% of our staff, we are still going to work, especially our caregivers, right? So they're not off working at home. Right. But we are seeing, I think the statistic they quoted us the other day was a 400% increase in the number of employees visiting our wellness center. Because we set up a wellness center for people who have to see so much death and so much just this thing. I mean, so there's also that going on. So in addition to the people at home, there are the people at work who are in the mix of this and seeing the devastation, and some of them are having to be they're self-quarantining away from their families, right?
Yes.
And so they're setting up hoteling for some people who are really dealing with these patients every day because they don't want to go home because, you know, they just are afraid to take something home to their, so they're distant from their loved ones and
Right.
dealing with this of that.
And I think about what is this going to look like 3, 4, 5 months from now, especially when you talk about frontline workers, essential workers, and what the symptoms are going to look like, and are they going to start to mimic PTSD symptoms?
Absolutely. I think there's going to be a lot of trauma, or need to be a lot of trauma-informed work that's happening with these folks, because not only are they dealing with a phenomenon which they haven't had to deal with before, but like Danielle was saying, they don't have the ability to get those social supports and that support system that typically they would have in order to help them to work through situations, and have on top of that them dealing with a highly stressful situation, a lot of death involved, a lot of sickness, a lot of fear and anxiety. I definitely think that we're talking about a potential trauma reaction to these what has been going on these past few months.
Right.
Wow.
So what should we be doing? I mean, what should we, I feel a little bit lucky. I mean, other than the occasional boredom, and I'm going into work maybe 3 out of the 5 days, what would you advise just all of us to sort of be doing as self-care, and sort of we can avoid some of these stressors?
Some things that I would say is, one, because it comes up a lot, avoiding those should statements, right? I should be doing this, I should be doing that, because that puts that pressure on yourself that, okay, I should go work out, you know, or I should be doing this, but it's more like, well, is this important for me? You know, so really thinking about how to take care of your immediate needs right now, you know, so your basic needs. And then from there, the other needs that you have. But when you think about the present and what's going on right now, is focus on that, you know, so that self-care, it might be to get some rest. But if you feel like you're oversleeping, so now maybe you want to create a structure around sleeping, you know. People have lost their jobs, you know, so they're not, you know, so they're not working, but they do a lot of time at home right now. So really thinking about, what does my social support look like? You know, what am how am I taking care of myself physically? And one thing I've been telling clients, we're shelter in place, but we can still go outside to get some fresh air. You know, you can still go to your, you know, whether it's in the front, the back, take a walk around, because that's going to help with changing up your day. You know, I've talked to clients about creating a routine, having tea, having coffee, whatever it is. It's creating small routines throughout the day, breaking it up for yourself, but really being careful about should statements.
I think it's important not to get down on yourself. I think that a lot of times we can very easily set high expectations for ourselves, or alternatively, we can think like, kind of like what you were saying, Shannon, like, you know, I'm lucky, right? I have a safe place to be. I have a job. I have food. And really start to say like, well, why? Well, I shouldn't complain. I really don't have anything to complain about because I have all of these privileges, right? And while that's true, I hate for people to compare their situation to another person's situation because it really kind of invalidates that person's experience. And so you really want to try and you know, validate, like, you have a right to feel stressed or to feel anxious or whatever way you feel, like that's valid regardless of whatever privileges that you might have. And so not to kind of start to, because people start to like feel guilty about even feeling upset about their situation.
One of the things though, to me, that, you know, I wish I could like take walks and things, but when you live where I live, it's very hard to go outside because people don't social distance. So I feel like my stress goes through the roof when I'm outside, and it drives me crazy. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I wish I would give anything to have a backyard, because I really want to be outside, but it's really difficult to be outside for me. So.
And you brought up something when you mentioned feeling anxious outside. you know. And so I know that have come up a lot, you know, whether it's going to the grocery store or being outside. I was even outside today, and it's like, what do I move over? You know, so it's like, it's a lot of uncertainty about how we interact now.
Right.
A couple of months ago, somebody bumped my shoulder, it was okay.
Right.
But now it feels even more intense when somebody bumps my shoulder, because now I'm not sure, right? But that anxiety is you want to use some mindfulness and breathing so you can relax yourself in those moments, because you can't go outside, you can't find space, right? But those statements start to come in of, I don't have any space, I don't have anywhere to go, and go out there, so you're not even out the door yet, and already that anxiety is at a 10. You know, if you picture your neighborhood, you might find that one spot that somebody is not going to be at.
Yeah, I found alleys. Alleys are empty, but then I'm afraid I'm going to cross a rat or something.
Oh, Lord.
Or is somebody going to pull you into the rape van? You got to stay out of the alleys, girl.
Right. The alleys might not be a good.
But you know what me and Shay figured out the other day is also that, so when they first sort of closed everything down, our office, we were told to figure out who can work from home. My team, we can work from home. There are about 9 of us. We can work from home. However, that first week, I did stay home every day. But then, you know what? I got scared to go back. And I'm like, I can't have that, because I'm the person at work who says, y'all, yeah, it's this virus, but we got to come to work. You know, there are people, because even some frontline workers were like, oh, I don't want to go to work, I'm pregnant, or I take care of vulnerable people. I can't be the person enforcing other people coming to work if I'm scared to go to work. So the next week I was like, I can't do this. So I went in, and I'm so grateful, because now it's been demystified for me. And yes, going into a hospital setting right now, the first day I was like traumatized walking through the garage, the path I have to take. But once I got in and saw that everybody had protective gear, everybody was social distancing, I started feeling like I feel safer here than walking my dog through the West Loop right now. And if you've been solely at home now, the thought of going back out there is daunting.
It is. Right. I agree, because I go into my office once a week, but I don't like to be, I will start feeling anxiety about just going outside, period. So I'm like, nope, I make a plan. Okay, on Wednesday, I'm going to go to the grocery.
So do y'all recommend that to people, or?
Yeah, I think it's helpful to get out and just do something. You know, if there's a store you like to go to, you know, to get items. I know a lot of people are getting their food delivered, and that's great and wonderful. But for me, I actually, because I feel like they don't be picking out the right kind of produce and all that stuff. I need to look at my strawberries before I pick them out. So, like, I try to get out to the store at least once a week, and it helps me to kind of get out. I see that most folks, for the most part, seem to be social distancing, wearing the masks, and that helps me to feel better. And so for me, I just try to really take things one day at a time and not kind of think so long term ahead, because there's so much about the situation that's out of my control until I can't make plans, right? And so I just really have to take it one day at a time. And for me, that's not how I typically operate in the world. I like to make plans and feel like I got, you know, Shay, I know you're the same way.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, you like to make plans, so it's hard to not be in that mode. It takes you out of your comfort zone. But I've really found, in order to try and manage my own anxiety, I've really just had to make short-term goals and just think from week to week, like, what am I trying to accomplish that week, or what am I trying to do with the girls to keep them occupied?
Like, because your husband is a first responder, a police officer, so what's that like, having a loved one out there really in the thick of it?
Yeah, it's really hard, I think, in a lot of ways, because we have such young children that they don't understand the daddy's home, you need to, you know, kind of stay away from him or not. I mean, as soon as he walks in the door, they're like jumping on his neck. Yeah. So,
and what does he want?
Because his position, he doesn't interact with the public a lot, so he's not on patrol or anything. So we're grateful for that. But, you know, for folks who are really out there on the front lines, like Shannon, you mentioned earlier, a lot of them are like staying completely away from their families altogether to try and minimize that risk. But, you know, we're just grateful, you know, we're trying to take all the precautions we can, and just to understand that you can only do so much, right?
Right.
You really can only do so much.
Something else that's important to talk about is that we're not able to interact with our loved ones the same way that we have before, because now we have to think twice. Now we so like that's a grieving process. You know, people are postponing weddings and engagements and graduation. You know, class of 20 got hit hard.
So one of the things I wanted to ask about doing telehealth, like for the vulnerable people that you guys are working with who are in the home with possibly an abuser, can they be completely open and talk to you through telehealth?
Right.
Or
are they whispering on the phone? Or
like how is that working?
Yeah, I had someone, I'm sorry, Danielle, jump in if you want to say something. I had someone who was pretending that I was a parent of a student when their partner came in the door. So like I saw them come in the door and I knew, you know, I knew the history. And so, you know, right away, I kind of just switched to, you know, just talking about general things, right?
Oh, you just played along.
Yeah, just played along, you know.
Yeah.
And so, you know, but for her, it was like, oh, I'm talking to a parent, you know, that needs to be private. And so they kind of left in a few minutes. But I think it can be real uncomfortable for people, and not only people, well, definitely people who are with their abusers, but also some people are just in home environments where they have no privacy, where they have no ability to kind of speak confidentially about anything. And it might not be that this person's an abuser necessarily, but maybe they just don't want them to know what they are talking about.
Maybe they don't want them to know they're in therapy or
exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
For each session, I always ask my clients, is now an okay time? Is this a good time to talk? Just because scheduled for this time, it doesn't mean that the stars are always going to align and you have the privacy. I ask them, you know, can it be freely? Do you have headphones that you can put in? So really setting up that space, because they're losing that privacy from our office, you know, from our office space. And so I don't, you know, so working with clients, so whether it's their kids or, you know, spouses or parents, do you have that privacy? And if you don't have the privacy, then we're going to have to reschedule because it's not an efficient session.
Right.
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot. Well, we certainly appreciate the hard work you ladies are putting in, because this is, and who knows how long this is going to go on. I mean, what do you two do for your own self-help, and especially after hearing people's stuff all day long, you know, what do you do to sort of disconnect and push back and set your own boundaries? What do you guys do?
Shannon's happy to share what she does.
What do I do? What do I do? Oh, this? A little this? I mean, hey, look, I think after a long day, if this is all I do, if I do what I do all day long, the people I deal with, the issues I deal with, this is minor. It's a shot with a lot of ice.
I'm not mad.
And I'm not in there, Shay.
No judgment, right? Judgment free zone.
Judgment free zone. I love it. Yeah, I'll say for me, over time, I've kind of perfected the disconnect, right? So I really just try and state, you know, this is this person's situation, it's their circumstance, it's not my circumstance. You know, I'm very emotionally and mentally present with my clients when I'm with them. But after that, I really have the ability to disengage. And kind of like, you know, I'm managing similar stressors that everybody else is managing, right? So I'm kind of like, I need to get back to, you know, the 3-year-old, you know, Hellcats over here trying to tear me down bit by bit. So, you know, I just try and, you know, get back in with them and just, you know, appreciate. I mean, as much as hectic as this is, I'm spending a lot more time with my girls. And for that, I'm appreciative. So I try to find when I can. Don't get me wrong. I wish their daycare would open up again.
Make sure you put that out there, right?
Right. Put it out in the universe. It would be so much better if their daycare were open right now. But I am glad I get to spend more time with them. So I try to look at the positives that I can.
Yeah.
And then for me, video sessions are harder for me. They take a lot more work, and how I disconnect, I make sure I do therapy in one place. And that's the reason why I'm not in my office right now. I'd rather be here in the living room because I feel like I can have a conversation versus I'm in work mode. Right. So I'm really just keeping one spot for work, and that's the only place I go for work. But afterwards, I take a deep breath because I'm like, whew. I had 8 clients yesterday, so it was like a long
God. That's yeah.
I take a deep breath. I might yell a little bit, just to kind of get that out because we hold a lot, and we hold those spaces for our clients. So, I might have I love tea, so I might have my favorite tea. It helps me relax.
Oh my God. But I feel like people with kids, with young kids who don't know what's going on, it keeps you more in the appreciation mode than it does with like people with older kids who want to get out. But like young kids, they're just like, oh, mommy's home. Oh, hey, let's do it. You know, and they're loving it. Whereas, you know, I feel like that keeps you more into seeing the positive side of it.
It really does. And I feel like for a while I didn't even really talk to the girls about what was going on at all. But eventually they started to be like, so are we like not, is school not a thing? Like,
mommy, you lost your
job.
Like
they asked about their teacher, their friends. And so I tried to explain it to them in a way where I was like, you know, there's a lot of people who are sick and we don't want to get sick. So we're staying in the house. But now like every morning, Alara will come down and she's like, mommy, everybody's not sick. Everybody's not sick. And she like wants to go swimming because they were so active, like swim, gymnastics, all this stuff. And they want to do all of that now, you know. So it's even getting old to them now. They're like, all right now. Like this was cool at first.
Right. Right.
It's like Shannon's dog. He is so ready for Shannon to go back to work every day.
I mean, and again, that first week, he was cool. He was like, oh my God, you're home. Let's do, you know, because we got to go out on walks and, you know, he had me do himself completely. And then, you know, about the second week, it was like, he was looking like, did somebody lose their job? Like, why are you here?
Right.
When I lick myself. So he started doing all kinds of stuff that we had a little silent agreement he would not do when I was at home. You know, humping on stuff and I'm like, Gucci, what are you doing? And he's like, you ain't supposed to be here. It's 4:30. This is humping time. You're not supposed to be here.
Like, you're in my space now.
Yeah.
So we haven't been having, fortunately, to pay for the girls' tuition. But I swear I've taken that money and started spending it on like educational toys and other things because I'm afraid that, you know, I'm not doing enough with them. So I'm like, oh, they need this little tablet and they need this and they need that. And it's rough.
Yeah.
Wow. How's Mike handling things, Danielle? What's he up to? Is he still, I know he's not traveling because he travels.
No, he's not traveling. But he's good. He a lot of time here. I tell people we still love each other. We still like each other.
Even though, because y'all are spending a lot more time together.
A lot of time, yeah. Because he went from traveling maybe once, twice a week to now being grounded in here. But it's just weird. It's just funny how things work out. Last year we spent a lot of time just getting our house together. And so buying new furniture, fixing up the office. And who knew that we were going to have this much time to enjoy it? You know?
Wow.
That's a cool thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I never thought in a million years I would live. I mean, you know, I've been living here in 800 square feet for many years now, and it's been fine because I'm always gone. I am always gone. And by being gone, I mean I'm usually at Shannon's house, but I'm gone. I'm not here. And so being here, I'm just like, oh my God, there's nowhere to go. Like I only get like 2,000 steps in a day because I'm just like walking from the bedroom to the kitchen. I mean, like there's nowhere to go.
Mm-hmm. But now we could be creative, right? So really just being creative with our time and what we can do and what we can't do, and enjoying every inch of our house, and finding new projects or not.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you. We appreciate you, girls.
Yes,
And
thank you.
one day we'll be able to have drinks and get together and hang out, you know, one day.
One day.
And
One
do
day.
this in person. All
Right.
Definitely.
Okay, until then, but everybody take care of yourselves and stay healthy.
Please
Right.
do.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
All
Okay,
right. Bye.
Bye.